A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to.
Yeah, what do you remember about that?
Yeah, well, talk about today. I mean, in the COVID world, we have all the facts out there. They're everywhere. They're irrefutable, and they're documented. They're from official sources. They come from the enemy himself, and people that I don't believe that. Yeah, it can't be true. Why? Because it's not coming from their trusted channels. They trust their media. It doesn't come from there. It can't be true. That's the only test of truth. Who is saying it? That's how it works.
With that, was it satisfying? Because I know in the 60s with the black and white video.
As early as 1928, the communists declared that the racial differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric. By constantly probing and straining at this one spot, they calculated that eventually the cloth could be torn apart and that Americans could be divided, weakened, and perhaps even set against each other in open combat.
You know, you're researching all this stuff. Nobody's paying attention that much. Was it satisfying to hear him and listen to him kind of what you were suspecting, just kind of lay it all out there with, I would say, a credible source from the inside saying, yeah, oh, this is happening for sure.
Yeah, a great source of satisfaction. And, you know, when I did all of these things, it was obviously all done on a shoestring. In that particular interview, I had managed to scrape up some money, and I hired a couple of guys with cameras and tripods. And back in the day, you know, you just didn't go someplace and do a video interview by opening up your tripod and put your camera on. They came in a truck. We had to rent a truck with all this gear in the truck, and they ran cables from the street up the sidewalk into the front door, into the living room, big thick cables for the cameras and everything. And that's how they had to record out there in the truck. It was a big deal. Now you can just go ahead and flip open your phone and put it on a stand, and away you go. You get a better image and sound than this. So it was a big event. But so I scraped up my money, but I never thought that anybody would see it. I thought, well, maybe we'll put this into the historical record. Maybe someday in the future, it'll have some value. And bingo, that's exactly what happened.
Wow. So, I mean, that's tough, especially at that time. Like you said, unless you worked for a big media station and, you know, had access to all this stuff, people weren't just doing high quality videos like that. So did you really believe in his message? Is that why you did it? Where you're like, this guy's good. I gotta present this properly, independently.
Oh, absolutely. I knew he was the real thing. Of course, let's face it, maybe your audience doesn't know, but Yuri Bezmenov was a KGB agent, and he defected from that post at great risk to his life. If they had caught the guy, they would have boiled him in oil. I mean, at that time, he told me, and I also read this independently, he said, whenever they find one of their agents who has defected and they get hold of him and bring him back, they ask all their agents to gather down there in the headquarters in the basement where they have a big furnace. And they put this guy in alive into the furnace and burn him alive, starting from just a low flame. And he suffers and screams and yells for a long, long time. And all the other agents have to watch it. And he says, you take it seriously when you decide to defect. Yeah, because that could happen to you. So this was no small matter for him to come out and make this statement. And he was hiding out in Canada when I located him. And he came to the United States hoping that the United States security agencies, you know, the CIA, the FBI would harbor him and take care of him. And he was shocked because they did not want to talk to him. Wow. He was an embarrassment to them. And so now he really was frightened because he figured our own intelligence agencies had been compromised.
Wow. So I saw he did one other interview. The only other one I could find of him was like at a school or something. So was he pretty much underrated and underappreciated, like while he was trying to tell people at that time?
Totally. Yeah. He might have gotten a chance to speak before some kids at the school, but no media would pick him up. Nobody would touch him, mostly because they didn't know he existed. I discovered him by reading some government documents where he had testified. I think it was before the Senate Internal Security Subcommittee, or maybe it was the House Committee on Un-American Activities. I forgot, one of the two. But it was a short interview, and I stumbled across it. And so I've got to find this guy. So
Wow.
that's how it happened. No, nobody knew about him, and still they didn't know about him until the video was discovered a little while ago.